if today's episode is going to be a very, not very short, but shorter than the usual ones. Hello everyone, how are you doing? I am doing great. I'm a little tired, but that's my own fault because I decided to sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning and wake up early, so it's whatever. That was my stomach. I did feed myself, but she's just acting up because I had cheese 2 days in a row, and when that happens, it's not good. Enough about my digestive system. I'm sure you didn't tune in to hear about that. Today we are going to be talking about Bridgerton, the Netflix series. I didn't want to do the whole like Queen's Gambit thing again, where I talk about the episode thing. I wasn't going to do that again. But I do want to share my grievances with this show. I have one big one, but we'll get into it towards the end. So for now, we're just going to start off by talking about the characters and how they connect to the quote-unquote diverse characters in the show. I thought that was a better structure, just to like summarize what happened if you've watched it or haven't watched it. If you haven't watched it, I don't think you would be listening to this. But if you have watched it, it's just like a quick summary and then like something I need to get off my chest and like talk about. I know the show was produced by Shonda Rhimes. I am a fan of most of her work. First off, this Bridgerton is a period drama. It was created by Chris Van Dusen. I don't know. It's based off a book called of the same name, Bridgerton, by Julia Quinn. By my understanding, I haven't read the books, but by my understanding, each of the books focuses on like one character. So the first book focused on Daphne, and I think the second book focuses on Anthony, and I think that's what they're gonna do with the seasons. I don't know. I don't know if that's actually like a true statement, or if it's been like verified or anything like that. But the executive producers of the show, Shonda Rhimes, Betsy Beers, Chris Van, and Julia Ann Robinson. So like Shonda and Betsy have been like all in together in like majority of the projects I've watched that Shonda Rhimes has produced. Just list off the shows that I have watched of hers: Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, The Catch. She did a period piece sort of drama, diverse drama called Still Star-Crossed. I didn't watch it. I know it got cancelled really quickly. And I think it only got a couple of episodes. Let me see. Yeah, it only got 7 episodes. Yikes. Okay, so she did like step into that world, and I think this one was a lot more diverse than Bridgerton. I'm seeing that there are, but I don't know anything about it, so I don't really can't be like claiming that. But anyway, I haven't watched it, but I did watch For the People. I watched maybe one episode of Station 19. I didn't continue. No, that's the one with. No, I didn't watch Station 19. I'm thinking of the one produced by Ryan Murphy, also about firefighters. I don't remember the name of that one, but I'm thinking of that. But I haven't watched Station 19 at all. But yeah, that's my history with Shonda. Oh, she wrote on Princess Diaries too. So this would be the second time her working with Julie Andrews, because she's also in the show as, spoiler, Lady Whistledown's voice. Not spoiler, Julie Andrews. Yeah, she is. Oh, that's fun. I think that's like enough pleasantries, and we can get into the discussion of the show because I've got a lot to say. But yeah, I'm gonna start off by talking about the main family, the Bridgertons. and how they kind of connect to other stories and how that like carries on into the show. But yeah, this season was about Daphne. Excuse me, about Daphne and her dating season, and her looking for a husband. So yeah, I think we could just dive right on in. I'm gonna start off with the least important children in the show, who are Gregory and Hyacinth. Her name is spelled Hyacinth. Hyacinth. White people have no right to be complaining about pronouncing black people's names. Like, no right at all. Anyway, those two children are the youngest. They just have a couple of lines throughout the show. They interact a little bit with the family. And that's about it. They don't really have much of a role, as in like the storytelling or anything like that. So it's like whatever with them. Then we move on to Lady Violet Bridgerton, who is the mother of the household. She is helping Daphne get ready to find a suitor. And in that process, she connects, well, she's friends with Lady Danbury, yeah, Lady Danbury, who is the Duke's mother's friend, and she kind of like took care of the Duke because the Duke's home life was not that great, and we'll get into it when we come to him. But yeah, Lady Dunbury and Lady Violet kind of like scheme together to get the Duke and Daphne together because they just think that the greatest pair ever. So they're like, oh, let's push them together. Let's like have them get married. So that's basically her role. And then when they do get married, Lady Violet has to tell Daphne, because like she's her mother and everything, she has to tell her about what happens after a man and a woman get married and what that implies and like what happens on the honeymoon phase and all of that. And she's very vague on that topic, and Daphne gets very angry with her because she doesn't know like anything going into um like once she gets married to the Duke, and she like they run off back to his hometown or something, and she knows nothing. So Lady Violet was no help in that department whatsoever. But she also does have a little like um fight, not fight, but like heated conversations with Anthony about him and his duties to the family, which segues very nicely into the next character because I'm done talking about Lady Violet. Anthony, who is the oldest son, and since their father has passed, he like has to take care of everything, like the money, the house, making sure Daphne has a suitor, making sure everyone's like taken care of. He's basically the man of the house now, since he is the oldest and he's the male, and yeah, he has to take care of everything. But Anthony isn't married to anyone, and he isn't um um I can't say dating because they don't date, but he isn't betrothed to anyone. But he is sneaking around with a singer, an opera singer in the town, a famous one at that. They sneaking around and they claim that they love each other, but like no one knows. I mean, everyone knows, but no, they haven't made it public that they are like seeing each other because it's not like um of etiquette to be dating someone in the 1800s. You meet, talk for like 2 or 3 days, and then you get married like right away. And Anthony hasn't done that. He's just like having fun, not having fun, but just seeing a woman he is not supposed to be seeing, which I don't understand. Like, I don't know why people look down on the singer. Like why she can't just be accepted as a higher class woman, if that makes any sense. Because she's got a talent, she's got a job, she's like earning for herself, and she's like, okay, I think that's maybe probably it, that people, men in the 1980s, don't want a woman who is capable to take care of herself. Anyway, Anthony is connected to the Duke. They're friends, longtime friends, and that's how Daphne is introduced to the Duke, and that's how we're introduced to the Duke. The Duke, Simon, I just like calling him the Duke. He is a he's not he has a yeah, as I mentioned before, he has a tough home life, and his mother passed away while giving birth to him, and his father didn't want a child, he wanted an heir. They made it very clear that his father just wanted someone to take care of his legacy as the generations go on. And the Duke, he had a stutter growing up, and his father did not approve of that like at all. He was like, "You're so," I don't know. He just said harsh words to his son, just for having a stutter, like not being able to talk properly, and it's heartbreaking. He was very mean, so like their whole relationship was strained because of that, mainly because of the his father, and how he's just not like supportive and loving in any bit of the sense. And so Lady Dunbury comes in and, takes care of the Duke. He grows up to be this decent, respectful-ish man. um and he doesn't have to study anymore. His father's like, whatever. And then on his father's deathbed, Simon promises him that he will never produce an heir. Um, just to like cut, like the legacy will just stop with him, with Simon. And, um, sorry, I'm getting a message. Yeah, the legacy will just stop with him, with Simon. And that was like his last claim to his father, and like on his deathbed, like those his last words to him as he was dying, because his father really wanted a legacy and people to like a whole generation, um like to carry on and everything like that. So it's like, no, I'm not giving you that. And then just like to add on to Simon the Duke, he's also friends with he's also friends with Will Mondrick, who is a boxer in the town. And what happens with him, yeah, he's a boxer, they're friends. He gives the Duke some advice sometimes. He has a wife, he has his own children, and he throws a game. This will all come back like towards the end. This is what I'm telling you like now. But he throws the game, throws a boxing match to help out a white man with his gambling debts. So we'll put a pin in that. We'll come back, but that's basically Anthony and the Duke and his connections and on. But there's not much else to say on Anthony. Um, he almost tries to kill the Duke, in a duel. Right? Yeah, a duel. Yeah. Um, 10 Commandments. Sorry. He and then like after that whole spiel, the Duke ends up marrying Daphne. So we'll get to her in a sec. But first we have Benedict, who is the middle child, the second oldest. He's the free spirit, and we know this because he draws, and he went to an orgy, and he is okay with gay people. That's how we know that Benedict is not like the other guys. He's different. He doesn't want to get married, but he ends up kind of sort of dating the town's tailor, Genevieve de la Croix, who is another woman part of the quote unquote diverse cast. And she pretends that she's French, but she's not actually French. There's a quick thing where she's also like kind of like free, and like Benedict and Genevieve met at the orgy that I talked about earlier. What else happened with Benedict? nothing much. I mean, he's like cool with Eloise, who we'll get to, who's probably my favorite character, I guess. Um, but I think that's it. Then we move on to Colin, who is the second youngest boy. He comes after Benedict, so whatever. He is very naive, very young still, and like doesn't know that much about the world and like marriage and women and all of that. He's connected to Marina Thompson, who has a whole backstory, but like I think we're done with Colin basically. I mean, we gotta come back to him while I explain what happened with Marina. But basically, Colin is Colin. Um, Marina Thompson is busy staying with the Featheringtons. She is closest with Penn Featherington, who, spoiler, turns out to be Lady Whistledown, writing the paper, the gossip paper, and Penn has a crush on Colin. Now, with Marina, her story is that she came to. I don't even know where they stay. I want to be like Maybury or something. I don't know what the place is called, but anyway, Marina comes to stay with the Featheringtons, to find a suitable husband for herself. And then we find out that she's actually pregnant with another man's child, a man that she actually loves, but he's in Spain, fighting some type of war, and she keeps writing him, but he never writes back. Then she's like, oh, let me just give up on him. He probably doesn't love me. He doesn't, yeah, he's just, that's why he's not writing back, blah, blah, blah. Then she has to actually find a husband. And like, we go through this whole journey of her going through like an old man, and not liking him. And she has to find a husband quick because she has to get married quick. And they have to pretend that the baby that she was pregnant with before is that husband's baby. Anyway, she eventually finds out that Colin likes her, and then she decides, but she doesn't like Colin. Then Marina decides to seduce Colin. Ooh, sorry, my nose is so itchy. And then yeah, she just seduces Colin. He proposes. Everyone's like, damn. Um, Everything happens so fast, and then she gets exposed. Marina gets exposed by Lady Whistledown that she's actually pregnant. And Colin's like, you lied to me. If you hadn't lied to me and told me the truth, I would have actually helped you because I actually did like you. But like, whatever now. So now Marina's left off shunned, and no one will actually marry her now. And then she decides to kill the baby by taking some poisonous tea, I guess. And then she like wakes up the next day. Pan finds her like passed out in her room, and it's this whole ordeal and everything. But then she's like, I'm fine, everything's fine. So she wakes up the next day and she's like, I'm not pregnant anymore. Again, no, that's not how it works. Um, and because she's not pregnant anymore, she's like, I'm not looking for a husband anymore. Um, and then what's her face, Daphne helps Marina try and contact her lover, the baby daddy, and she does. And her baby daddy's brother shows up, and then we find out that her baby daddy is actually dead. Then the baby daddy's brother decides to propose to Marina, and she's like, no bitch, I don't know who you are, go away. And she's like, I'm not pregnant, so why the fuck do I have to marry him? Then later on we find out that she's actually not, like she actually is still pregnant, but like, bitch, we knew. And she's like, okay bitch, wait, come back, we can get married because I'm pregnant actually with your brother's child. So they go off. That's like a whole thing. And then Colin decides to go off and travel somewhere. Oh, I didn't mention what happened with Anthony at the end of the series. He decides to him and the singer woman, I think her name's like Kelly or something, I don't know. They decide to break up. Well, actually, she decides to break up with him, and she's like, "Bitch, let me go. I need to fucking live my own life, like out and open and on the secret." And she finds a man that actually does that for her. Anthony is left alone, and he's like, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna actually be serious about finding a proper weapon for myself. I think that's what might happen in season 2. Anyway, Benedict is just left dating Genevieve, and then Colin, he wants to go travel. Penn doesn't tell him how she feels. He goes off. Moving on to Daphne, the star of the show. We open with her looking for it's like dating season for everyone, the young ladies of Merrington. I'm sure that's not the name, but like whatever. So we start off with her like getting ready to go see the queen to see what her word is about her. She calls her flawless, and that kind of like brings us in to meeting the queen, the woman like Jesus, excuse me, the woman in charge of like not in charge, but the woman who kind of propelled this quote unquote diverse world. Again, I get to it. That's why I'm saying quote unquote every time. Queen Charlotte, she calls Daphne flawless, some sort of good adjective. But her story is that she married the king. She's a woman of color, by the way. She married the king, and Lady Danbury tells Simon, in like one scene, which I think should have been like omitted like completely, but she tells Simon, if it wasn't for her marrying the king, they wouldn't be. Hold for helicopter. But anyway, she was saying, what was I saying? Oh yeah, if Queen Charlotte hadn't married the king, it wouldn't be possible for people like us to be where we are now in these positions. I'll get to it because it doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's like the queen married a white man. The white man has dementia. That's why she's a face of like, she's like in front of everybody. The queen wants to look for Lady Whistledown because the queen first starts off trying to marry off Daphne and the prince of Russia, I guess. I don't know. But that backfires. Then she starts off looking for the for Lady Whistledown. That's the whole thing. But that's the queen, and nothing else much happens with her. With Daphne, she really wants to get married. I think it's because she understands what that means, like what kind of power and status a woman would have if she was married to a man. And mm, she hastily marries the Duke. I guess they like loved they found each other attractive for sure. But I think the show would have really benefited if it was like the long game, like a very slow sexual tension building um romance between Daphne and the Duke. Like the wedding shouldn't have happened in episode, I think, what, 3. It should have happened at the end. I'll explain why in a minute. Um, but yeah, they get married. Did something else happen in between? Yeah, they get married after the Duke and Anthony have a duel. And then she is sent off. She has the vague conversation with her mother. Then she is sent off with the Duke, and they they have sex a lot of times. Um, I think it was episode 4 or 5. I really don't remember, where it was just a montage of them in different places doing it all the time. Um, and I think like that it kind of how do I put this into words? I didn't enjoy the parts where they were just focusing on Daphne and the Duke. I thought they were boring, and I didn't care what was happening with them. Like their story kind of felt like irrelevant at that point. when they were off. Like I wanted to know more about Daphne's family, like what was happening with them, like with Eloise, with Colin and Benedict. I was more interested in that aspect. But like every time we cut to the Duke and Daphne in the fucking fields or in the town talking with the peasants or whatever, like that didn't interest me. And I think that comes with, again, the slow burn. If we had a lot more time to sit with their quote unquote relationship and kind of let them know each other and let us know them, I think that would have been better. But what they did so far with Daphne and the Duke, I thought was boring. I thought it was cheesy, and I didn't like it at all. And then there was also during the whole like montage, there's a whole thing about like Simon lying to Daphne about not being able to give her kids, or not being able to give her kids, or not wanting to give her kids. And then there was like this whole sexual assault issue from Daphne's part, and they just don't talk about it like ever again. They don't talk like what, like they could have unpacked it a little more, especially if it's like from the 1800s and what that kind of meant. And like it was just um gross to watch, and I didn't enjoy it at all. So Daphne and the Duke, I didn't like them. Daphne and her bangs, I hated even more. I hated this woman's hair so much. I watched the trailer and I saw that she had those awful bangs, and I said, I'm not watching the show just because of that reason right there. This show could be fucking fantastic and so very good, but I'm not watching it because of her goddamn bangs. I watched it regardless, but still, like I watched it because people kept on saying it's so diverse, and it's so um um what's the word? It's so sexy. Like just because of the Duke. Literally that's it. So I was curious just because of the diversity part, not because of the Duke being sexy. But yeah, no, I they should have just not let her have those bangs. Anyway, they went away after a while, I think. I don't know. That's Daphne. And her whole story. I'm like glossing over a whole bunch of other stuff, but again, not enough time. Then we move on to Eloise, who is kind of like the rebel of the family, the nonconformist, the kind of crowd favorite because, again, she's a nonconformist and she's like women's rights, you know? And she's Pen's best friend. She's not really connected to any quote unquote diverse people. Um, she does look for little Lady Whistledown, and she does think that Genevieve is Lady Whistledown, but it's not her, so that kind of gets cut quickly. I would have really liked it if season 2 was about Eloise, not Anthony. I really hope so. Oh my god, Jesus. I don't know why I'm so burpy today. Um, Maybe because I just like ate right before coming here. Anyway, so yeah, that's Eloise. Nothing much else happens with her. Her and Daphne kind of butt heads a little bit because Eloise doesn't understand her wanting to get married. Um, but she's also kind of thankful for Daphne because Daphne's so perfect and she's allowed to not be that perfect. She's allowed to just be herself. And she gets along with Benedict the most out of the brothers. And that is the family. Now we get into the juicy stuff that I really wanted to talk about. I don't know if it was marketed this way by Netflix or if the public, the viewers, decided to express their opinions about the show in this way. But I kept hearing and seeing that Bridgerton was so diverse for a period drama. They cut out the whole the whole 1800s and what that came with and what that meant for black people and for people of color in that whole world in Europe. I don't know if they're in England or wherever they are. um so people like, oh, it's so diverse, it's so different, it's so blah 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 blah. So I was like, oh, okay, let's see how diverse the show actually is, because I'm very curious and I do love to watch people dress up and be elegant and be formal, whatever. I was heavily disappointed because everyone lied. Whoever started that whole campaign that the show was diverse, they are a liar. The show is no way diverse whatsoever. Remember how okay, so let's start off here. Sure, yes, there are black people and there are people of color in the show, 100%. But they are in the background. The people who are in the forefront and have lines that are quote unquote part of the diverse cast are the people that I mentioned who are connected to the Bridgertons. So Lady Dunbury, Queen Charlotte, Marina Thompson, the Duke, Will Mondrick, and who else? That's yeah, that's those five. Literally counting on one hand, those are the five people of color in the main cast with like roles, like lines and talking, and you know, everyone else is in the background. There are these beautiful black women wearing these elegant dresses and these beautiful black men wearing these like dapper suits, old suits or whatever the fuck you call what men wore back then. And they are in the background. They don't say anything. Um, they might as well just be the helpers, the handmaids, the fucking butlers and slaves and all of that. Like, that's not, this show is not diverse in any type of way. And what's worse is the fact that, not worse, or what's eye opening, I guess, the writers as well, it's not a diverse table. Maybe one or two people, but from what I saw, it's just not diverse at all. Like, people need to stop lying about it. And even when they say, oh my god, Netflix is literally getting on my nerves about this whole situation. Stop hiring the same actresses, please, the same black actresses, the same light skinned, racially ambiguous actresses. I'm tired. I don't know about everyone else, but I am tired. I would like to see something different, please. Marina is a light skinned, I don't even know if she's a black woman, but she is a light skinned, racially ambiguous woman. Her story is probably, her story and the Duke's, very upsetting. The Duke is a black man from a broken household, who didn't have a father figure. Marina is a woman who has to struggle with a, not struggle. Yeah, no, she has to struggle with being accepted in a society that is gonna absolutely destroy her because she is pregnant and unwed. Like, ugh, it's just not that. So the show really faults in that whole aspect, and it's upsetting. I would have loved to watch a period drama where racism didn't exist and black people just roaming around being dukes and princesses and princes and just living their best lives. Um, but alas, we can't even get that. As well as, side note, as well as getting a whole black cast or a diverse cast, an actual diverse cast, in a fantasy drama. I don't know, like I know the Wings Club, the Fate, what, I don't know what it's fucking called, but that reboot of that cartoon, the Wings Club, if that could have been, because I absolutely love witches and that whole like fantasy and warlocks and that whole world and everything with like magic and stuff like that. I love that, especially in TV shows. But oh my god, can we cast a black woman who is not gonna be the fucking savior? Yes, I'm looking at you, Bonnie Bennett from Vampire Diaries, every time. Let her just be, and let her just fucking use her magic, and let her just like roam around in her home with like her plants. And ah, I have a vision of like what I want a show to be, of like of having like the magic fantasy world and like black people actually in it. I have like this whole thing in my mind about it, but I'm probably not even gonna get it. But yeah, that's the show is not diverse. They are lying to you, and it has its frustrations. All in all, I didn't love it. I didn't enjoy it, but I suffered through it. Not suffered, that's extreme. I grudgingly watched it. I watched it and I completed it. And also, why are the episodes so long? Why are they an hour long? That's not necessary. I think that's also another one of its downfalls. Like, it doesn't have to be, like, nothing happens that much in an hour long show. Like, there's so much filler stuff that we could have just taken out and we could have still had a nice, good, concise story. Probably even tighter, probably even better, but I'm so sorry. Shonda, the creators, I'm so sorry for being mean about your show, but do better, please. I mean, it probably would have been just better if it was just a whole white cast, honestly. I think the only period piece drama that I enjoy is Pride and Prejudice, and not a black person in sight. um, no, but like seriously, can Hollywood do better, please, in hiring people of color, please? And thank you. But since I've been like, I went off on that tangent, I will say I did enjoy the set pieces and the set design. I thought it was pretty and the flowers were absolutely gorgeous. I love flowers. I love palette a palette that doesn't make any sense. Um what's that fucking, like a pale pink color scheme? Like those are pale, that's what I'm trying to say, those pale colors. I enjoy those. Those were nice. What else did I enjoy besides the set design and the color scheme? Honestly, I can't think of anything. The acting was, hold on, I got a message. The acting was okay. It wasn't anything special, I guess. Like no one actually stood out to me. Um Directing as well, very okay. Mm, the music. Oh, they did do like renditions or different versions of like popular songs. Like they did Ariana Grande, they did Maroon 5 and Cardi B, they did Taylor Swift, they did Billie Eilish as well, which was very like at first you're like, wait, this sounds so familiar. Like what? Um I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was okay. It was fine. I guess. It was creative, I guess. But yeah, that's literally what I just wanted to talk about with um Bridgerton. You know why I don't enjoy period pieces and why I probably prefer probably like a fantasy magic show, because it's they do a lot of things where, like in fantasy shows, I'm just thinking of that one show, Shannara Chronicles. I think I pronounced that right, but it was on MTV, and it was like kind of like in the future, but it also kind of felt like old timey, like another period piece, but it was very fantasy. And I kind of like they kind of like they kind of like go hand in hand, fantasy and a period drama, because sometimes the fantasy will be like back in the day and they like live in the forest and they don't have like fucking working showers, which is so fucking dumb, which I hate. Which is again a point as to why I don't enjoy period dramas, because you just think about the bullshit that people of color had to go through, and what the fuck white people had to not had to do, but white white people did back in the day, like actually did, like in real life, not in the fucking movies. But you think about I think about that. Literally, I couldn't watch The Crown just because of how they colonized Africa and all of that. I That's literally all I just like that popped into my head. So I didn't watch that for that reason. And then another reason is because I like living in the century that I'm fucking living in. I like having a working shower. I love having medicine, the strives that we come with like medicine and women giving birth and all that whole area of it. Just like what we have now and what they didn't have back then. Why the fuck would I want to go back to that time period? You know what I mean? It's just anyway. It just that it doesn't make sense to me. Like that's how my brain works when I'm watching those shows, period dramas, anything like that. Um, Unless the story is like absolutely amazing, I'm not gonna watch the show or movie and absolutely enjoy it. So I don't watch a lot of them. But like I said, Pride and Prejudice is like the only exception. Um, but I think that's gonna be it. Cause again, short episode because I just had to fucking talk about my feelings towards the Bridgerton show and period dramas. But I think that's gonna be it for today. Um, I hope you all. I hope you all take care of yourselves. And stay safe, because the Pandorama is a serious thing and people are actually dying. So please take care of yourselves. And I will see you in the next one. Maybe with more special guests. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to promise anything. Anyway, bye.